It's time for European football's showpiece event. Wembley Stadium will play host to 2024's Champions League final. Can Real Madrid take the title for the 15th time, or will Borussia Dortmund cause an upset and lift the cup for the first time since 1997? Hello and welcome to Football Now. The Champions League final is one of the most anticipated events in the football calendar. This year, Real Madrid will go head-to-head with Borussia Dortmund to lift the trophy. During this campaign, both clubs have defied the odds to make it to Wembley. Drawn in a group of death alongside PSG, Newcastle United and AC Milan, Dortmund have given the famous Yellow Wall plenty to cheer about. Madrid have had to overcome huge obstacles of their own. They avenged last year's heavy defeat to Manchester City by beating Pep Guardiola's team on penalties at the Etihad Stadium in the quarter-finals. They then scored 2 goals in the final minutes of the semi-final to knock out Bayern Munich and book a spot in their 6th final in 10 years.
I am very excited because it would have been a bit disappointing to watch an all-German final. It's always nice to have 2 different teams from 2 different countries taking each other on, and it is very romantic. You've seen in Dortmund that a lot of the times they're happy to forego possession if it means that they will be strong defensively, and they have really played as a cohesive unit. They will be good in the transitions because they have that great striker in Wembley, who no one would have imagined would have taken this competition by storm, but he's been magnificent to watch. You would imagine that it would be Real Madrid, especially with Cruz in midfield, like we watched him in the semi-finals, just take complete ownership over the passing range that he can produce is second to none. And so they will take possession of the ball. They will try to find ways, whether it be through the pace of Vinny Jr. or Rodrigo's relentless movement up front. You would imagine Dortmund will try to win something on the counter-attack, but it's very hard at the moment to believe in Dortmund's chances, mostly because if Real Madrid can overcome Bayern, they can overcome Manchester City, and they do so with these comebacks that you wouldn't imagine, or perfect penalty shootouts. You wonder which team in Europe can actually defeat this team.
Real Madrid head to Wembley looking for a record 15th Champions League win. They'll be bolstered by their star midfielder Jude Bellingham, who's been making headlines all season. Just a year ago, Jude completed a switch from Dortmund to Madrid for a record €105 million fee. Now he will face the club that gave him his big break in Europe's final showpiece.
The great thing about Bellingham is it's the way that he's been developed. It's the kind of mindset that he has. Every decision has been carefully thought out for his career projection. In choosing Dortmund, he chose a team in which that he can play regular football and allow himself to develop with a side that has constantly developed the very best youngsters in the world. He was allowed regular playing time, allowed to make his mistakes and learn from them to develop. In choosing Real Madrid, he wanted to make sure that he would get that winning mentality. Coming up against Dortmund, it's going to be interesting to see how he emotionally takes that on board, but you just imagine a professional like him. He's just fabulous to watch.
Well, no one expected Borussia Dortmund to make this year's final. The last time they were in this position was 11 years ago. So, can they cause an upset this time around and lift the trophy for the first time since 1997?
It's a cup game. Cup games are always, as we've seen several times throughout this competition, you can throw any tactic out the window. It's only so much an extent a fan base can affect play, but Dortmund is one of the ones that really can get to you, and to have that support, to have the tifos and the banners that they do is just a different feeling, and there's only a few clubs in Germany that can do it to that level. No matter what happens from the stage, they've still done beyond anyone's thought, so it's just going to be a good night out for Dortmund fans. Obviously they want to win it, but I think they know the objectives ahead of them. 2
clubs steeped in European history and tradition, it's a final for the Romantics. While some clubs can't seem to get it right in Europe's elite tournament, in this competition a certain magic surrounds certain teams. It's that intangible aspect that makes the Champions League one of the hardest prizes to win in world football.
I don't think there's necessarily a recipe for it, and I think a lot of teams would agree that there is a large element of luck, a luck element in the draw, a luck element in what can happen over two legs, but also at the same time, there is a real strong sense of sort of tradition and magic. The clubs who have, those really storied histories and really passionate fan bases that are there following them through good times and through bad times, the likes of PSG and Manchester City, although they have storied histories of their own, they don't quite have the European pedigree that some of these other clubs like Real Madrid, Liverpool, Dortmund and numerous others have. Some clubs are just built for continental competition, Real Madrid being the obvious example of that. It's something that I think at the end of the day is a very elite band of clubs, and it's really, really hard to break into that.
A fascinating final is in store at Wembley, but will it be Real Madrid or Borussia Dortmund to win the 2024 Champions League? Let us know your thoughts using the hashtag FootballNowCL Final. That's all we have time for from our studio here in Doha. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.